Our first candidate. I want to say to you, I don't know if all of you listened before, but I'm very sure that if you play the same pieces to me live today, you would probably get totally different comments. But as I said before, I can only go by what I'm hearing on the recording today. And I'm sure you've all made great progress in the past weeks. But anyway, one can always learn something. Just a general comment to all three of you. You are in that, let's call it intermediate phase, where certain things are well developed and other things are still in development. It's absolutely and totally normal, and it's the process that we all have to work through, especially as string players. Intonation is just one of those things that will haunt us for the rest of our lives. And it's just something that needs constant attention. So, if I tell you today that sometimes your intonation needed a bit of work, then it's just how it is. I mean, there are no shortcuts when we play a string instrument. We have to work through all the processes. That's the only way we can achieve a good result in the end. I'm just going to say it up front. All three of you got a merit, but I'm quite sure that you probably would have done differently if I heard you live today after, let's say, 6 weeks of hard work. Okay, first one. Oh, I didn't write your name. I'm hoping I'm saying it right. Is it Entropy? I hope so. I've never come across this name before, so I'm not 100% sure, but you know who you are, and I know who you are. Just generally, always look at the pianist and breathe together in order to start together. Some of you just start, and the poor pianist has to catch up with you. You need to have eye contact, and that's, for instance, the thing that you will learn when you play in an orchestra or ensemble. You always need to have eye contact with either your fellow musicians or the conductor. Very important thing for all of you to learn. The jig was lively and played with a certain drive, but please be careful not to rush. Sometimes you just took off and just really wanted to run away, but you sort of pulled yourself together again. Take care with your intonation, especially on the E string. And you can try to achieve greater dynamic contrasts here. In the minuet, the allegretto, I thought it could be slightly more relaxed. It was almost like you still felt that the beginning of the piece. Just try to relax this tempo slightly. Careful not to rush, and do breathe at the ends of phrases. I mean, I can't say this enough. Strings and pianists don't breathe because they don't have to physically breathe in order to be able to sing or play like singers and wind players. So, the music needs a moment. There needs to be a moment of breathing and for the sound to just relax before we can start again. Try to emphasize the first beats in each bar a bit more in order to achieve a more elegant dance-like character. The dotted rhythms were precise and well played. In the trio, I think the tempo here could be slightly slower to achieve a different character. Often when there's a minuet and trio or allegro and trio, there is no tempo change indicated, but the first one is always in a major, the second one in a minor, sometimes it's the opposite. But in order to achieve a different character, we are absolutely allowed to just slow down the tempo slightly, especially if we go from major to minor. Minor always feels that it should be just a little bit slower. And also, very important, take time before you go back to the minuet. I mean, the piece, the trio needs to end. It was a dance, so people can't keep dancing like this. They need to have a moment to just catch their breath, breathe, and then start again from the top. And the music really needs it. So don't be afraid to take time. I think sometimes you are afraid to take time, but you don't have to be. So we need a bit of time. And then the chardas, this was a lively and appassionata, as indicated, performance, rhythmical and energetic. Here you can also make more of the change in character when it changes to E major, and then be careful that when it picks up again into the semiquavers that you don't rush. Here you also need to breathe so that the pianist can actually follow you. Keep working on your intonation and your sound production. Keep up the good work. As I said, you've got a merit. And then we have Leo. Again, I don't know if you heard the previous group, but somebody else also played the Nocturne by Lily Boulanger. A nocturne is a piece that's played at night. And I always like to think of it as a quiet night. So you need to understand more the composer's indications and the musical terms. They are all in French, but you can Google them these days, no problem. In the runs, you made sure that you stayed together with the piano, although you weren't always 100% sure of the notes, but you made sure that you started and ended right, which was a good thing. You also need to work on your intonation some more. As I said to the previous person, try to think of in this kind of piece as using your bow as a paintbrush so that you achieve different colors in the sound. Then the reading, here you had a good tempo and you were off to a very good start. In general, here your intonation was good. Try to achieve even greater dynamic contrasts, although I do say that with care because online it's very difficult to hear. You have good sound in the lower register. And as the piece went along, your fortes were played with a very nice full sound. There was a certain drive throughout the piece. And then the tarantelle, a lively tempo, here and there, few imperfections in intonation. You kept your pulse and tempo throughout the piece. Keep working on your sound production and your intonation. And you also got a merit, and then our viola. Very nice to hear a viola. The Bach minuets from the first cello suite, which I know very well. You started with a very good tempo, but also you need to emphasize the first beat so that we get the dance character of the minuet. Also here in minuet 2, it changes to minor. So try to change the color and also the character. So you can just do it a little bit slower than the first minuet. And then always remember, you have to go back to the first minuet. The piece doesn't end at minuet number 2. Then it ends in the middle. It has to go back and you end with minuet number 1. Those are the rules of performance. Yeah, and also breathe. Same for you. I think because you are teenagers, you want to do everything very fast. You forget that you have to breathe in order to live and to make music. The Telemon, that was a lively tempo, but also you don't rush. I thought it might have been on the fast side. Be careful with intonation. And then the Tsar of Muscovy, you started with confidence and a certain energy. Keep listening to the piano. Yeah, ideally you have to have eye contact. I think because of the recording, you had to stand in a certain position, but it's very difficult to make music together if you don't see each other. Yeah, also the intonation needs a bit more attention. Do lots of slow practice so your fingers can learn the distances between them. I don't know if you maybe played violin before, but maybe your fingers just need to learn to stretch a bit further. But it's so good to hear a viola. Your sound production is developing well. Keep up your good work. Viola players are scarce and wanted, and there are never enough of them. So good that you chose the viola, and keep working. That was it. All 3 got merits.